Good morning, noon, evening or night, depending when you're watching this video. My name is Legend and welcome back to World of Tanks and the NBTT'ay Replay, where we feature the best replays of the NBTT clan. And today we got iTzGodlyz once again, now really taking a leap forward in amount of features from his biggest rival in the series, Toby Thomas. But let's focus on the battle at hand instead of their rivalry. Because iTzGodlyz is playing in his Panther 8.8 on the Nordscar map. And instead of going to your, more typical medium tank location, instead he opts to go towards the hangar flank, where most of the times you will face off heavy tanks in close quarters brawl. So quite a peculiar position within the flank as well for a medium tank with, below average gun depression. So it takes a while before he can actually find a shot, but immediately gets hit back for it. So maybe not the best position to have, but he recognizes this and repositions more towards the middle section where less gun depression is needed, and he's able to pull back behind cover more easier. Also, there are going to be a lot more targets to fire at from this certain angle. But yeah, the Panther 8.8 is among the medium tanks with the highest amount of DPM. With that, it is also quite reasonably armored, as you can see that iTzGodlyz is, bouncing a few shots here and there. But the most important element on his decision to go towards a more typical brawly heavy tank flank is because he's top tier. And on top of that, there aren't even any heavy tanks which share his tier. The highest tier heavy tanks are those Tiger 1 and Black Prince 2s, which are tier 7. And you will see that a medium tank with, decent armor and a very feisty gun is going to go absolutely ham in this particular situation. But, not only because it's a pretty good medium tank in these circumstances, if the fire output can go on continuously, of course the player, iTzGodlyz, is going to prove that this tank is in more than capable hands than your average player. But besides of that, he still takes a while on pre-aiming and turns back to his initial location where he catches out the T-44-100 in the middle, displaying quite a lot of patience, waiting for the enemy to reappear. But after he returns again to the middle section, more enemies are finally showing themselves again, even driving fully into the open for him. And with the DPM of the Panther 8.8, he makes quick work of such maneuvers. However, the push-in of that Black Prince 2 was for a reason, as iTzGodlyz also notices the friendly SU being face-hugged by the enemy Ares. So he comes to the rescue, but unfortunately the SU still gets destroyed by the guard right there. But again, with the guard in the open and a big shot of help from the Kari, the guard also meets his demise rather quickly. But now the tempo really amps up as iTzGodlyz moves further forward to deal with the enemy Kari 2. Have some great side scraping right there. He finishes him off and continues to another side scrape brawl with the Tiger 1, showing off the armor capabilities of this tank in combination with that monstrous DPM, as that rapid tank-to-tank continuous combat with the DPM of the Panther 8.8, the main reason why iTzGodlyz's damage output is already 4,500 damage. But going on a lot about the whole DPM thing of the Panther 8.8, because it's not the highest DPM among tier 8 medium tanks, that would of course be the Ares. But the damage output of the Ares can be subjugated with its lower amount of penetration and more situational usage. But after the Ares, it's technically the Panther 2 with the stock gun that also has more DPM. But of course, that is quite a lackluster gun. What was it again? 135 base damage. Yeah, so fast reload and such, but sure. But not really the top tier configuration that, well, you would need with the Panther 8.8. But after the brawl in the hangars, he is done as he approaches the back line and tries to bait a shot from the Scorpion G. Those brawls against the lower tiers really making iTzGodlyz more confident right here, but the Scorpion wants none of that. Rushes in, but still gets dealt with. Right after, also against the even 90, trying to bait a shot, and at the end gambles that he low rolls in order to finish him off. But luckily the even 90 was aiming for the blast, granting iTzGodlyz his 7th kill. Another godlike battle, but well, we are pretty much used to it from this particular player for a while now, as he achieved, of course, the ace tanker alongside with the high caliber Top Gun and steel wall, displaying all the highlights of this tank with those medals, with high damage output, good kill potential and still reliable armor, especially against lower tiers. And for its efforts dealing over 5000 damage with 7 kills, he gets nearly 900 base experience. And alongside with the premium account, he is still able to gain a profit, because he did switch rather quickly towards gold rounds against those heavy tanks and went through all 25 of those. So without a premium account, he would actually have lost credits with this particular battle. So yeah, the reason behind this record of a battle is mainly because as the top tier medium with some decent armor going towards the flank with the more brawly heavy tanks is actually quite a good decision if you are not facing top tier heavy tanks that share your tier or god forbid are tiers higher than you. That would have really switched the outcome of this battle if you would still stick with that particular strategy. But at the flank, seeking out multiple positions in order to find the best angles towards multiple targets, utilizing both his armor with his side scraping and little poke strategies, forcing the enemy to whiff their shots towards his more angled side cheeks of his turret or side during the side scraping, and also his unrelenting DPM to keep the active damage output on, going from tank to tank, always having the next target rather nearby. And all of that resulted into this great replay. So hope you enjoy it, I certainly did, and I will see you next time. Laters!